Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the King Leo Show. How you doing, J-Boss? Well, the pre-show. I should quickly go to the bathroom. Let me leave something playing while I go very quickly. How you doing, man? Should have done that before. We might. Should we do Kirk Watch? Let's. We always leave some Charlie Kirk. What we got here? This is 30 seconds. This is 38 seconds. All right, we can leave this playing here. I'll be right back. I just have to go to the restroom. So while you wait, be entertained with some Charlie Kirk AI. Let's do that. Be right back.
You know the parties, and I know the island. I'm thinking, maybe you and I can partner up.
You want to run duos? You and me? Competitors?
That's right. Either that, or I release the Diddy files. 667,000 bottles of baby oil.
All in?
No. Each.
Each?
Each.
667,000
bottles of baby oil. Each. You know the parties, and I know the island. I'm thinking, maybe you and I can partner up.
You want to run duos? You and me? Competitors?
That's right. Either that, or I release the Diddy files. 667,000 bottles of baby oil.
All in?
No. Each.
Each?
Each.
667,000
bottles of baby oil. Each.
Amazing, amazing. Welcome to the King Leo Show, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? Sorry, I just had to go visit the restroom. How you doing, Eves? What's up? How's everyone doing? It's 10 o'clock. Welcome to the King Leo Show, everyone. Tonight, we're talking about paging Mr. Tate. Paging Mr. Tate. Andrew Tate has been arrested in my hometown in Miami. I really don't care. To be honest, I really just I don't care about it. But whatever, it's an interesting story, right? I'm trying to understand the implications of this, and I hope that we can learn something here all together about it. Because I don't really know why Andrew Tate is still relevant politically, even though he kind of was for a while. I know we have some Andrew Tate fans here sometimes. Feel free to defend your guy. I just don't understand what the point of this is, like what he's doing. So we're going to talk about that, obviously. But before we do any of that, firstly, I'm going to make an ad this week for the Patreon so we can play that before every show so I don't have to say it. It'll be a fun ad. Join the Patreon. It's $5 or $20 a month. You choose whatever you want to do. You can also join us on YouTube, but Patreon is preferred. You get access to the King Leo Movie Club. You get access to the Baudrillard in film history, and we're going to start a director series after that. Yeah, it's great. You could do it on YouTube too, but on YouTube you only get the $5 stuff for $20. So why wouldn't you just go on Patreon? Helps a lot more on Patreon than on YouTube, but I'll take what I can get. You keep the lights on around here. Give me the money. Give me the money. We need money for the show.
You know it's up with me, man. Money really good over here, nigga. I don't give a fuck, nigga. You heard me? Money good, nigga.
The money is good, but we need to get money from the audience. Shameless, guiltless plug. All right, everyone. With that, let us begin the show. We have to start with this. I don't even know what if this economy was not a scam before. It's very funny to see the scam America money, the scam American economy go international. It's actually kind of beautiful to see. We are going to have so much free money coming to America now because of, let's just check this out here. This is a crazy thing that came out. By the way, actually, I think they changed that. I think you can buy a lottery ticket with a credit card now in America. Before, it was only cash. Let's see this, though.
All starts with tonight's massive Powerball drawing. For the first time, residents of the United Kingdom will be able to win the jackpot. Yesterday, tickets went on sale all over the UK. So the good news, the lottery says by expanding the pool of ticket buyers, the top prize will grow faster and higher without raising the $2 ticket price or changing the odds of winning as low as they are. The bad news, of course, is that someone across the pond could end up hitting the jackpot and winning all that money. It is a good time for new players to get in on the action. Tonight's jackpot is worth a whopping $567 million, or about 423 million British pounds. The odds of winning remain at 292 million to 1.
Regardless,
you got a chance.
There's always a chance.
There's always a chance.
Regardless of which side of the Atlantic you buy your tickets, those are the odds, unfortunately. Anyone feeling lucky here?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, great. Okay. Let's
Can't win if you don't play.
Absolutely.
Sensational.
How good is that? How good is that? You know what's really funny is that I know in most lotteries around the world, there's no income tax paid on lottery winnings. There is here. And I know Uncle Sam is not going to let some Brit win this lottery in England. I really look, the law is fake and everything, obviously, right? But what are we? So gambling is just completely legal now, right? Because you know what? This is going to lead to like gunboat diplomacy to allow the Powerball in, right? They're going to be sieging China till they allow the Powerball to make it to China. Because, I mean, they're just preying on everyone's lack of funds, right?
I can't eat. I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke.
It's just, it's really an amazing thing. You know, Jordan Peterson, where is he? Is he still alive? Where's Jordan Peterson? Jordan Peterson, where you at, Jordan? I've seen more people online come around to my position. They think he's dead because I don't think he's alive anymore. I really don't. And it's sad, but it's sad. Anyway, what I find, he had this really good quip about the lottery years ago where he would say, listen, lottery is the most unethical thing that you could do because people cannot visualize statistics. Now, we know that because most people can't visualize a ham sandwich in their head. Most people, you tell them, hey, can you describe to me a ham sandwich? And they go, what happened? And then let me explain one more time. Can you tell me what it said? I don't know, man. Like ham and how do you like it? I don't eat ham sandwich. That's the average person. But this is a real bust out international. I wonder how the UK allowed this. Like the UK lottery is going to. What the hell was that? Is that Discord or something? I wonder if that was Discord. It's here. 1 second. Yeah, because it's not Google Voice. We have that. Yeah, we have that open. I just don't know how they're going to do this. Does the UK lottery not care? Is the UK too broke that they rather outsource the lottery? Will the inflationary pressures of a British winner? Do you even believe in the lottery? I go back and forth on the lottery. I can't tell if the lottery is real or not because it seems like particular people win the lottery, and there's like one guy who I think legitimately won the lottery, that Mexican guy in California who's bought like a bunch of houses, because that's something you would do if you won the lottery. All the other ones are a suspect to me. So now the lottery is international. I mean, you know, a lot of people theorize the lottery is for intel agencies and all that. I don't know if that's true or not, but shameless. We got rid of USAID and foreign aid in order to bring people extraction. You know, we should also like open a sports book in Namibia or something. That's what America should do. This is real, like late stage capitalism stuff, man. Amazing. J-Boss says, but it raises the odds of splitting the prize. Duh. Yeah, I guess that's true, right? If you have more players, there's more. No one's going to win this. I really don't think anyone's going to win this. Let's continue. I'm very glad to see that Matt Walsh, the most talented person at the Daily Wire, the low T man with a beard, the What is a Woman man, made a documentary. We saw one of these last year that he made about slavery, which was pretty wild. Let's see this one here. He's making about communism.
Once upon a time,
there was a country. Not just a country, but a big one, an empire. And in that empire, there was an upper middle class family who had 2 boys who were raised by their mother, who loved books, Uncle Tom's Cabin, and the Bible. Their father admired the country's leaders. They were patriotic and happy. Both sons went to universities where they were radicalized. One of the brothers read a book and convinced him to try to shoot the country's leader. He was hanged. The other brother read the same books, but decided to lead a movement. First, they came for the universities, and no one seemed to care. Then they took over the unions, and again, no one seemed to care. Then they created their own media organizations and took over the cities. And again, most people just ignored it. Change, after all, was something they could believe in, until it was too late. Sound familiar? This is the real history of communism, the Russian Revolution.
Right. Amazing from the Daily Wire. So good. Right. No, it's so true, Matt. It's so true, Matt. I love it. Thank you so much, Matt, for this. Hey, Iron. Hey, CCTV. I'm so glad that Matt Walsh is tackling the real issues here. Right. That's so true, Matt. That's so true. He forgot to attach the GigaChat image. If you're actually going to do Lenin, I don't think he's going to do him justice. Lenin is like the smartest one. Lenin is like OG genius. Like, you got to be reading Lenin, man. Whether you want to succeed in the workplace, you know, most people will tell you read, what's that book? 30 Laws of Power or whatever. That's crap. You got to be reading Lenin. Okay? You got to be reading that. That's how you get ahead in life. What is that ping? Why am I getting a ping? That Telegram? Could be Telegram. I need to answer everyone on Telegram. Could be Telegram. Yeah, I think it's Telegram. All right. This is great stuff. I'm really glad. This is really amazing. The Daily Wire is losing all its audience, and what it's deciding to do is give us Diet Ken Burns documentaries about communism. I really do love it. I wonder, because what he said is that Lenin took over the universities, and then he did the revolution, and that it sounds familiar. I don't think we have any Lenins going around today, for better or worse. I think that Lenin is he's gone, man. It's not gonna happen again for anyone. Because this is hell.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
If Lenin were here today, he would be booed out of the DSA conference for talking too loud or something. And here Matt Walsh is promising. Because, people really love to say this. This is a bone I have to pick with the English language expressions. They love to say things like, well, you have to learn history so that you don't repeat it. I don't think that's true at all, actually. And maybe I'm just a bit of a Platonist or something. I don't think that learning history makes you not repeat it, actually. I think it's kind of like Inception, right? Where if I tell you don't think of a pink elephant, you think of a pink elephant. I'm pretty sure that learning history makes you more likely not just to repeat it, but to use the same tactics to do it. I wonder if has learning history to not repeat it actually ever been tried before? Because even if on a microcosm level, right? If I stub my toe against the table, I might move the table if it's really inconvenient, but I probably just leave it there and I'll just stub it again. I'll try to remember not to do it, but it's going to happen. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm, Hispanic or whatever. And, it's just my way of thinking. But how would learning history stop you from, I really would like to hear the case of how learning history stops you from repeating it. We have someone new here. Jun Defeated. How you doing, sir? If you want me to read something, please be sure to @, there or send it as a super chat if you're so generous. If you're new here, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be taking calls pretty soon. But yeah, I'm really curious as to why Matt Walsh, I don't think this is how it works. I don't think this is how it works. I really don't. You're learning history. Maybe it's actually cool. Maybe Matt Walsh is going to inspire a generation of Leninists who will actually be able to do something about the country, but I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. Let's continue. We went over Zoran yesterday. No, we're not going to cover this. We're going to cover this a little later. Let's look at this here. I wanted to show Joe Brandon's son here, Hunter Brandon. He's growing on me. I like him, and he said he said something so truthful here. Why would you say something so truthful, Hunter? This is great stuff. Let's see what he has to say here about the state of the sexuality of our senators and all this.
I believe that the biggest problem in America is in Washington D.C. with the federal government is it not the oligarchy?
Closet cases.
It's the closetocracy, as I call it. It is, and I'm being totally serious. Everybody knows there is like this closeted gay mafia, largely Republican, that exist in Washington, D.C., and everybody knows every single one of them who's gay. And so and what I believe, the only reason that is relevant is because I believe that internal conflict creates so much vitriol inside a person that they take it out on the rest of the world. And they do. And so what they do is their whole lives, they've been closeted. And so you have this like black ball inside yourself, this like blackened heart by the fact that you can't be who you want to be. And so you take it out on everybody else. And these men, largely men, have done exactly that. And everybody knows who they are. Everybody.
I guess David Goggins was right.
I like to get a bunch of men together.
Okay.
Men that are the hardest of the hard. And I want to be with these men.
I'm not even going to doubt him. I bet he's probably right. I don't know if it's I'm probably bipartisan, right? I don't really have we just lost Lindsey Graham, LGBTQ icon, right? I'm not sure he's wrong here. I mean, he would have more information than we do, right? What I wonder here, though, is this. And maybe this explains, I don't know, this guy, Hunter, brother, this is, where's the clip? Where's the clip? This is
Come on, man. This is a free man talking.
This is a free man talking here because I'm really tired of, and I've noticed it through Alex, Democrats who are ostensibly pro-gay. You know, they say like, oh, gay people are all right and everything. They say that, but then whenever they want to insult someone who is conservative, which I love to insult conservatives too, I really do, they immediately go to you're gay, you know, and I don't really understand how that works because I don't really go to those insults. I don't really go to racial or ethnic or unless you're Latino like me, you know, that will go straight there, right? But the gay one, I don't know if it's because I grew up in the post-self-esteem movement or something, but when I remember back in the 8th grade, they had this commercial on the TV with the NBA players, and they said, don't say gay, you can't say gay. And then they made it illegal to say the F word. I grew up saying that shit all the time. And then I think my junior year of high school, they were like, you can't say that anymore. And we were like, all right, we don't want to get kicked out of school, you know? But so was it all posing from the Dems about this? Because that's what I don't understand about the whole thing. Did they not care about gay people at all? Because I remember specifically Joe Brandon had an amazing anecdote. Do you guys remember this when he was running for office? And he said that when he was a kid in the 1940s or 50s, he got out of his car that his dad was driving and he saw two well-dressed men in suits kiss each other on the lips. And his dad told him that's normal. That's good, actually. You can't judge those people. And I have a really hard time believing that an Irish Catholic guy in the 40s or 50s said that to his son. I mean, look, Joe Biden, he makes shit up all the time, right? But whatever, that's just how he is. You know, I love it. I love a Baudrillardian. Dude, Baudrillardian, check in. I love anyone who will make up a story like that. That's very cool, you know? But his son here is like, fuck it, dude. Like, I'm gonna tell you the truth. There is a bunch of gay people running the whole thing. I have to defer to him. He would have more knowledge of that. Maybe Tucker Carlson knows about this too. He loves to talk about this topic. But very fascinating. I would like to see, but you know, you got to name some names here too. I'm curious about it because why is it that Democrats, I think it started with Obama, the gay thing, right? Because he changed. He was anti-gay, and then they made him pro-gay, And then under his administration, the Supreme Court legalized homosexual marriage. So was that never sincere? Because I was always confused by that, because I said, listen, even if you believe that gay people deserve to get married, and that's fine, I don't have anything against them. I really don't. But my question is, why do you care about them at all? Like, in terms of votes, what is, gay people are like 1% of the population. Why would you care about that? Unless they're like really high performing voters or something. Why would you even take on that issue? And it seems like Democrats, either they regret this issue or they didn't really care, because I don't understand why you would do this. You know, why? Because now Hunter's coming out here, like the free man he is, and saying, listen, man, I don't give a fuck, bro. I'll tell you the truth. There's a bunch of gay people running Washington. And you're like, okay, well, that's crazy that you're saying that. All right, let's continue. I wanted to talk about Ian Carroll here a little bit, the chief idiot of America. He had kind of like faded a little bit. He was really in the spotlight when he went on Joe Rogan. Wanted to show you this here. This is Roseanne Barr, who I think she means a lot to boomers and Gen Xers. I never watched Roseanne. I didn't watch any white sitcoms, not because I'm racist, just because it wasn't my thing. Okay, I like the black ones more. And this is Ian Carroll here on the Roseanne show. And we're going to show him after this because, as I said with Fat Boy's appearance on Joe Rogan, this is just conspiracy country now. The whole country is just conspiracy theory after conspiracy. Where is it? Where is it? Right, that's the country now. Let's see how it's looking here, because this is Roseanne's pushback, who my understanding is that she's a big fan of Israel. She is a person of the Jewish faith. Let's see what she had to say to Ian Carroll. I'm surprised she even talked to him, because Ian's kind of bad.
He has a Jewish name, but he's a Satanist.
I don't think exactly. These people in all the religions,
yeah,
when
they
turn to that evil, they are serving evil.
They're Satanists.
Right? Yep.
Don't just say Jews.
Well, I try not to. Yeah. I think that the people that do just say Jews, like I do try to hear them and listen to their perspective and you know, hear their arguments rationally and learn if I can source what they're saying. Get reductive and just look at one group only. You're just inherently going to undermine your own argument because you're not actually going to get the whole picture. Figuring out how to align and how to speak about it is 10 times harder for a Jewish person.
It's your nation, your hope, your people, your tribe, your religion, your history.
Man, it's really the last Jewish state. Yeah, there's Jews in New York and Jews in LA, but this is a Jewish state.
It's the only one.
When you're talking to Christians, hey, you got 56 countries and 1 billion fucking people.
The Vatican is evil, and the Vatican is a deep state apparatus for centuries, and the Vatican has so many scandals and like all the trafficking or child abuse scandals. So it's like, I would never want the Vatican to have to represent my religion.
Absolutely.
And so Judaism went through
millions of Catholics.
Judaism went through a transformation when Israel was founded, where Jews had a correct me if I'm wrong, but Jews had like an international identity as like wanderers, as sort of like God's lost people, right? But still very tied by that to each other.
Right, that's so true, man.
Shut up, man. Man, listen. You ain't got to say.
What is this? Who is the audience for Ian Carroll? I really, look, man, I was into conspiracy theories when I was a teenager, but like real conspiracy theories, right? I was reading like CIA docs. I wasn't doing, because there was always a culture of conspiracy theories that were like preppers and all that. I always thought that shit was stupid. When people were like, oh, well, what was the currency for Canada, America, and Mexico called? What was that one called? The North American currency that they were going to make? I remember they used to freak out about that. North American currency, the Amero or something like that. Union. Fuck, man. What was this one called? North American Monetary Union. For Amero. Yeah, this was the Amero. This was when I was a kid. All the Alex Jones types would love to talk about this, man. They would freak out about this, about Agenda 2030 and all that. And I always was like, dude, I'd rather learn about real shit than whatever you're talking about here. I don't even know who the audience is for this. I really don't. I don't. Who is listening to Roseanne Barr, and why is Ian Carroll talking to? So, all right, the people who run things are Satanists, and they're Satanists in the Vatican, and they're Satanists in Israel, and they're okay, dude. Then you know what? When do these people? This is what I don't understand about this grift. Is when do these people? What is that noise? I don't know what that ping is. Is that the Discord? Here. I don't know, that's a Discord. My question is, when do these people eventually say, you know what? We lost. The Satanists are in charge. They're the smarter ones. Clearly they've been doing it longer than we have. What am I going to fight? You know, why would you fight this at all? Because I feel like there has to be a point where you do that, right? Where you just go, okay, so that's it. So I lost. If the Satanists are so entrenched and they're everywhere and they're telling you what to do, then when do you get to learned helplessness? That would be my goal in life. I would like to see this type of conspiracy theorists achieve learned helplessness, where they just go, all right, I can't fight them anymore. It doesn't make any sense. It's over. Thank you. But it doesn't end here because, as I said, this doesn't stop. Let's see him over here. He has to address Fat Boy's appearance on the Joe Rogan show. Here he is right here. Let's see this is here.
Vice President J.D. Vance just went on the Joe Rogan podcast and made some very choice admissions about Epstein and Israel. And it was just over a year ago that I went on Rogan and the world had a complete meltdown because it was the first time that someone had spoken candidly on such a big platform about Epstein and his ties to Israeli intelligence. But the vice president just came out a little over a year later and basically confirmed a whole bunch of what I said. Jeffrey Epstein was just an employee of these organized crime rings that work on behalf of like the CIA and Israeli Mossad and British intelligence.
Well, most people think he was Mossad.
Yeah, Mossad or CIA or some other deep state, whether in America or Israel or another country, or both.
So that when Jeffrey Epstein goes down, no one knows who he worked for.
Right.
He worked for intelligence, and I was told to leave him alone.
Right. Well, that was one of the things about the prosecutor was told that he was above their pay grade. I mean, it was one of the things that
he said he was like CIA or something.
Yeah.
Right.
He said I was told he was intelligence.
Right.
When you really dig into Epstein, his entire network was Israel. It was clearly like Ehud Barak was the ex-prime minister and the ex-head of Israeli intelligence. Leslie Wexner was one of the most powerful pro-Israeli philanthropists. The whole organization was Israel. So I'm not saying it was all of Israel.
It was all an intelligence gathering and
it was targeting Americans. It was targeting American officials and the American president.
Epstein was using sort of the sex ring to blackmail rich and powerful people. Epstein seemed to be connected to the elements of the Israeli deep state that were left of center.
Leslie Wexner owns Victoria's Secret and L Brands, right? He's the bank that bankrolled Jeffrey Epstein. And I was saying earlier that he signed the power of attorney over to Jeffrey Epstein. And the reason why you do that is so that you can claim that you don't know about his operation. He was just my money manager, right?
Oh my God, this is all just fucking slop. Let's get back to him.
2006, 2007.
Trump wants us to stop talking about it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
But it's not going away. No, this story is just getting started.
Dude, can someone get Oliver Stone in front of a tribunal for this? This is really we're at wit's end here. We really are. Someone needs to get Oliver Stone in front of a tribunal because this is too much for me now. This is too much. This is and I know that people watch this even if they don't admit it. The people who watch this stuff are just rotting their brains with conspiracy crap. Instead of, I don't know, I just saw Michael Tracy's debate at the Soho Forum. Was pretty good about this whole thing. I swear, it's Oliver Stone's fault. Dude, what is that little ring? Oh, I think is it this? I don't know, let me fucking close WhatsApp. Let me see that. Oliver Stone keeps with that Nixon movie and all the president's men. That wasn't him, but you get the point. They created this culture. They seeded it in a long term where Ian Carroll's not going to get to the truth of the matter. He's not going to. Let me tell you, if you're an Ian Carroll fan, Ian Carroll's not going to follow the money. I don't want to steal the joke, but I saw Nick Mullen once talking about this where he was saying, so the CIA does 9/11, right? And then they go, all right, step 2, we have to leave the clues, right? And that's where we are now. Dude, what is that noise? Oh, hang on. Wait, is it this? I don't know what it is, actually. I don't know what that is. Dude, that's going to drive me nuts, actually. One second. Let me see it. Let me see this here. All right, it's not that. What is that? It's not this. It's not this. so weird. All right. Odd stuff. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, this is not going to stop. These people are not going to stop. And I just feel like it's just rotting the brains of Americans. I don't know if this is the most enticing thing. When I was a kid, I remember there were like a couple of people that were really into this kind of stuff, people that were actually smart on the JFK question, people who spoke about who really knew about Woodward and Bernstein. And I always liked Seymour Hersh, right? Seymour Hersh is a smart guy. He's clearly not just making shit up. I actually believe his theory on the UBL raid and all that. And what was it? The pipeline they blew up, and didn't they admit that was true? The Russian pipeline. I believed Seymour Hersh when he said it from the start. What is this? I don't know who the audience is for this, but I know that it's rotting American brains, and it's really something that even the guy who's seeding this is pointing out that the vice president, Fat Boy, the fucking misinformed crack baby we have as VP, is repeating the same shit. And I think it's even more offensive, actually, for the average American who cares, which is not me, but if I were an average American who cared, it would be a problem. That the reality is that now we have the vice president wasting everyone's time. Ian Carroll showing he's repeating the Ian Carroll podcast. So is JD Vance coincidentally getting to the same conclusions with more intelligence and repeating it in the same way? Or is he watching the Ian Carroll podcast and just repeating that? And if he's doing that, then who's in charge of the country right now? It's just ridiculous. Speaking of that, let's continue. No, we're not going to do that. Not going to do that. Let's watch this over here. We're going to have to talk about England a little later. This is Keir Starmer. Oh, I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss Keir. What I've learned about England in the last couple of PM ships, is that what they're called? PM ships, prime ministerships, is that this country is one that just likes to complain. You really saw it with the Argentina game they had. They just like to complain and cry like babies. Like, where is it? Where is it?
That's right, run.
And I was glad to see Keir Starmer play into this here. He posted this on his TikTok. He just resigned. He just replaced. I haven't learned the new guy's name yet. Should I even learn it? I can't. What was it? It was Cameron, Teresa. I don't even know them anymore, man. Does it even matter? None of them did anything. Let's see this here.
Without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.
This is your car.
My car?
Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. Cause we're brothers first.
You're all free. Home is sweet home.
Thanks for the invite.
I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
I'm gonna go for a drive.
No matter where you are, whether it's a quarter mile away or halfway across the world.
We all change, we all grow, a new lane.
What I like about this is that it's kind of like an FU on the way out, because what really happened here in England, I think maybe the historians will write it. I don't know if they will or not. The historians are full of shit, right? All of history is bunk, as Henry Ford said. This is Ro Khanna's doing. Ro Khanna took down the Starmer administration in England with the Peter Mandelson scandal. And this is truly a poetic way to end it, if we call it that, where Keir is just using the what Fast and the Furious movie was this? The one where Paul Walker died? It wasn't Fast 5. That was the one in Brazil. Could have been Fast and the Furious 8 when he died. This is truly the best response I think you could give to this crap. I can't believe that Ro Khanna. I don't understand how England isn't really pissed about this, where Ro Khanna was able to take down their prime minister, try to take down their crown. And look, I'm not a big fan of the British crown. I'm actually not a fan of them at all. But what is, how did he get away with that? It really is something to ponder. How did he get away with all that? Arrested by Israel supposedly, and then he's going to run for president. What an he has to be some sort of agent, man. I'm allegedly, I don't want to jacket anyone, but I would like to see someone actually do a deep dive into who Ro Khanna is working for. I don't know if it's Russia or something, but why would you do this to Keir Starmer and the Crown? And there has to be something beyond just being a Democrat, because it's really a ridiculous pass this guy gets. He's acting like Whitey Bulger, like he's protected. And you're like, what? J-Boss says, my history books say the good guys won every single time. That is how it is, man. They really do put it that way most of the times, man. It's very annoying. And those are the history books that they push the most, right? Open Veins of Latin America, all that kind of crap. And you're like, really? Reference Norm Macdonald? Oh, I didn't know that Norm said that. Norm was a very funny guy. Very funny guy. I like Norm. All right, let's do these last two and we'll move on to the next segment. We're going to watch a little Ben Shapiro. Might put me in a mood, but let's watch him here. Here he is talking about the support for Palestinians, which this is an esoteric theory I think that Ben Shapiro has developed as to why people love Palestinians so much. Let's see this here.
Here's the thing. Mamdani's political theater around Netanyahu is about the love of loserdom. That is what it is. The reason that the DSA and the far left have decided to use the Palestinians as a moral litmus test is because if you can take the most self-created losing group on planet Earth, the Palestinians, who have now turned down a wide variety of peace offers over the course of literally decades, voted consistently for terrorists, openly root for the genocide of the Jews, openly support violence against civilians, and are thus unsuccessful. Okay, that's the actual story there. And if you somehow turn them into victims, if you somehow invert this, that's putting true ideological skin in the game, man. If you can somehow turn Israel defending itself against genocidal Hamas terrorists into the bad guys, if you can somehow say that Israel was pursuing a genocide while going house to house in Gaza, minimizing civilian casualties, and meanwhile, Palestinian civilians who were very involved in 10/7 are suddenly the innocent victims of all this, and not the innocent victims of Hamas using them as actual human shields, but the innocent victims of Israel, you're inverting reality in revolutionary ways. And that's the pitch. That's the actual pitch, not affordability.
So true, Ben. So true. That's so true, Ben. Wow, Ben. Let's hear it for Ben. We don't have a clap one. We should get a clap one. So you might as well have said the N-word, Ben.
Say the N-word. Go on.
Absolutely beautiful. You're right. Zoran Mamdani, it's the slave mentality, right?
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
When are we going? Who is listening to this? Who is listening to? Again, the same question, but I have it. It's kind of crazy to hear him say, because I remember during the months after October 7th, people were saying, there's a difference between Hamas and the Palestinian civilians. And I think that Ben Shapiro here is equating the two. I'm not trying to put words in his mouth. I don't follow this issue. I don't know what, I'm not, I'm just, okay, so they're just, right. They're the cults of loserdom. That's what they are. That's why they won. That's why you're seething right now, because they're losers. Is that why? Ben, is that I don't want to sound like Patrick Bet David. Patrick Bet David said it, and he's he has his issues or whatever. We make fun of him a lot on this show, but what is this, the Daily Wire or is this the Israeli Wire? What are we doing here? What Ben Shapiro seems, every time we watch him on the show, he seems to be talking about Israel all the time. He's not talking about anything else. I really am starting to come around to Simosian's conclusion. And as someone who doesn't follow the issue, I don't feel comfortable saying it. Does this guy just want to nuke Iran and like the West Bank or something? Because I don't see what other conclusion I'm supposed to have here. Because if they can't, again, it's like double speak, right? Minimizing civilian casualties. but also they were involved. So, all right. All right, Ben. I'll hear you out. And finally, let's check in on Graham Plattner's potential replacement running for Senate in Maine.
Oh, I ran for office several times. Didn't win, but I did run. And then I'm a songwriter, and then I write my own books. And then I suppose my transparency, I wouldn't lie to the people, and I wouldn't deceive the people like we're being deceived right now. Like, we get lied to, smoke and mirrors, like what's going on with ICE. And I suppose the biggest thing is, like, I'm just an angry citizen now, and if I got elected, I'd be an angry senator.
All right. So, all right. Just play this.
I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. In big trouble. And I don't want to be in big trouble.
All right, let's just go to the next segment. That's great electoral politics from the Democrats. Amazing.
The people are retarded.
All right, let's check in on our people. This is really I want to start here as a movie person. This is too long. It's too. Let's start here. All right, let's start over here. Dude, everyone has just been getting on my nerves lately, man. Left, right, and center. They're just all terrible. Let's check in on stand-up comedy in Canada.
The UK and the Australian diaspora, they're fucking spineless, okay? I'm sorry, it's just the truth. They're like, I'm too white for brown people and too brown for white people, you know? Meanwhile, Canadian brown people, they're like, wallahi, if this Walmart doesn't start selling halal chicken, I will convert everyone in the greater West Vancouver area to Islam, inshallah. This is my white friend, Johnny. He can recite an extensive history of the Punjab region, pre- and post-partition. Go ahead, Johnny, name every state in India. This is a water gun, of course. It's illegal over here. That's the thing, Canada, you guys are doing it right. The goal is not assimilation with white people, it's hostile takeover.
I can't stand these fucking people, man. The joke is becoming a reality. Every day I hate one more person. They drive me crazy, man.
Listen, man, I'm not trying to coon out over here. I'm not trying to do the Tommy dance or anything.
Oh, coons, we wanna have fun. Oh, coons, we wanna have fun.
Why would you say this? Why would you say this? Why would you say this? At such a trying time. Why? First of all, I don't see what was funny about this. I've noticed that there are comedians, and I'm curious for anyone of Indian background that we have here, you know, whether it's Mr. Elu or something, right? I remember Russell Peters was a really funny comedian. I mean, he was all right. He wasn't my type of humor, but he was funny. You know, he was like this funny Indian guy. And what's his name? Kal Patel, right? The guy from Harold and Kumar. And I've noticed as of recently that there's a lot of stand-up comedians that are of the subcontinent, whether it's India or Pakistan, who have these types of shows, and I don't really know who for the humor is. I don't know if it's funnier if you're Indian or Pakistani. I don't, because I look at this and I go, I don't really understand what the point of this is. First of all, listen, this is not the Prophet Muhammad over here. Peace be upon him. No problem with that. All right. You know, I sincerely, I love Saudi Arabia. I had a great time there. I don't know the rules precisely, but I don't think that this is how the Prophet said to dress for men or women in the religion. So I don't know if we're LARPing. I don't know this community too well, dude, but this reminds me a lot of like second generation Latinos who don't speak Spanish. They do these kinds of jokes. What are you talking? This is actually the most assimilated person here. Actually, that's the really ironic thing about it, is that you're actually the most assimilated. You are wearing short pants, face full of makeup on stage doing stand-up comedy. You would never do that in your home country. I would never do that if my parents had stayed in Latin America, right? If you want to be a stand-up comedian, Latin America, you might as well like join a gang or something, right? That's something they would be like, what is that? You know, this is only something that in an Anglo country would happen. So I don't really see the funny, or why would you say that? Why would you say you're trying to do a hostile takeover of Canada? And if you're trying to not make people angry, I know that it's supposed to be a joke and everything, but if it's a joke, it would be kind of funny too, but it's not very funny. J Boss says, women have no business stand-up. Oh, come on. Joan Rivers was funny. There's some funny stand-up comics who are the ladies, right? I mean, let me see. That's a good question. I mean, because nowadays, none of them are funny. Let me see. Lady stand-up comics. Let's see. Who we got? We got to go to the classics, man, because, yeah, some of these are really bad. Nikki Glazer's not funny. Who are the funniest stand-up comedians? Jacqueline Novak. I don't know who that is. Christina P. Yeah, none of the... Wanda Sykes is kind of funny as an actress. As an actress, she's funny. Okay, never mind. We're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that.
I'm here so I won't get fined. 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 I'm just here so I won't get fined.
All right, excellent. Let's continue. I say this is an efficient analysis, J-Boss. Yeah, dude, I mean, I don't know. Joan Rivers was pretty funny. I think Joan Rivers was funny, right? Eve says, I was not listening to her, sir. My brain was got hit with a cube. All right. Let's calm down there. Let's check in over here on Socrates and Plato, TikTok plebeians over here.
If you can end the life of a fetus because it is not human and it does not have human rights, if you were able to, would there be anything morally wrong with raping that fetus?
What the fuck are you talking about, bro? I'm telling y'all, some people deadass don't deserve free speech. Why does it always gotta be grape with y'all, bro? Let me answer your question.
When would grape ever be acceptable?
Grape is illegal, bro, and
You're thinking about doing it to a fetus?
bro, don't pull out that hypothetical shit. You're weird as fuck, buddy. Everybody think they're a philosopher nowadays, bro.
What you think is morally wrong, bro? You need to die in GTA, bro.
Motherfuckers like this deadass deserve to get their ass beat, bro. Like, what is the argument you trying to make?
I don't even know what the fuck he's trying to argue for right here.
When is it moral to grape anything? Bro, I'm not gonna lie, this is deadass chronically online conversation. Nobody talks about shit like this in real life ever. Motherfuckers always trying to come up with the next hot take. We don't need it.
Fries your fucking life, gang.
Just delete your TikTok account. What fucking value do you provide to this world, bro?
Dead ass, like, delete your TikTok account.
I'm going to be like a total Sam Harris defender here. I remember Sam Harris. Now, he's going towards a conclusion, right? He wrote an article that was interesting about why torture would be justified during the War on Terror. And it was like, all right, Sam, I know what you're doing here, you know, but it was an interesting article to read, right? And I remember when he got pushback, he said, listen, I wrote that article like you would a philosophical seminar. If you're in a seminar, a philosophical one, you have the ability to ask anything, right? You have to ask anything. That's how reductio ad absurdum is really one of the best ways to understand arguments. In my mind, I love to do that. That's my favorite way of understanding arguments, right? Firstly, I would say, why are you talking like this? Why do a bunch of people that talk like they're from New York? Why? Yo, dead ass, bro. Yo, what the? Why? It's not just that the regional accent has gone away. It's that people have this very obnoxious way of talking. Dude, I don't think you're hard. I don't think you're from the streets of New York, which aren't even hard to begin with. Okay, maybe my standards are a little high for hardness because I've been to third world countries. But regardless, why are you talking like that? Why is everything... Can people not just have their own regional accent and speak in their own way? Let's listen a little bit again here.
Question.
When would grape ever be acceptable?
Grape is illegal, bro, and you're thinking about doing it to a fetus? Bro, don't pull out that hypothetical shit. You're weird as fuck, buddy. Everybody think they're a philosopher nowadays.
Everybody think they a philosopher now. You know, I don't mind when people talk like that if that's their natural accent, but I know you don't talk like that, dude. Like, you're not speaking AV. You look like ethnically ambiguous, you know, probably Latino or Middle Eastern. Like myself, I'm one of these, I think Felipe, what's his name, dude? The stand-up comic. Ah, fuck, he's pretty funny. Where he said, like, I'm one of these ISIS-looking Mexicans. You know, I get that at the airport. I get the extra security sometimes. Hey, baby, you don't talk like that. You don't, why are you, and to do the unk thing, like to do the Uncle Kiriakou, like I'm speeding up my voice, I'm slowing it down to look more ridiculous. We are really at the end point of nihilism. Someone bring... Look, this guy's posing a question that I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting question. I don't know. I don't care about the abortion thing that's going to happen regardless. But if you were in a philosophical seminar, it would be a question that would be appropriate to ask. Maybe it's the wrong venue. Maybe the only point this guy has is that, you know, it's TikTok. TikTok is not designed for philosophical seminars. It's designed for gooning, right? But this mostly what gets me is the confidence. Listen, man, you have your eyebrows done. I'm not going to believe that you go around talking like, hey, buddy, and they mama be out here fighting me. Like, you don't talk like that. You don't talk like that. You could make this point in another way. Maybe it gets less views. But I think that he's asking a real question. I think he's asking a real question, just like Sam Harris asked one about torture. I mean, Unk deals with these questions, right?
Do you waterboard him? Do you sleep deprive him? Do you put him in a cold cell? Do you beat him? Do you put cockroaches on him? Do you put hummus up his ass?
These are questions that people ask in seminars, right? I'm not saying that, you know, there's an answer to get here, but I just don't. If it's the venue for that, it's not the venue for you to be doing the Ebonics, AAV, when clearly, how are black people not more pissed about this? I find it annoying on my... Look, I have a slight Miami accent. I have a lot of calcs, right? I often say meat or chicken, and I know that's incorrect, but that's just because of the way I grew up, right? I know chicken is technically meat, but in Spanish it's not. So, like, you know, in English we say meat or chicken if you're from Miami. And, you know, like you say things like a heavy L as opposed to a light L, and cot or sound the same. But I'm not doing this. Like, what is this? Where are you getting this from, man? Don't be afraid to be yourself. You know, just speak like you're supposed to, or like how you're doing this. Let's check in over here on this one. Really is, we are going towards idiocracy. Like, we're going to be watering plants with Gatorade sometime soon. Let's check this out over here. Let's check on the state of our young people here. J-Boss says, it seems like Black Americans drive vocabulary culture nowadays. People have been adopting their slang increasingly. Dude, but that's fine. Like, there are look, I use the word, and I found out, like, I even saw a white guy say it recently. He was like, dude, we need a word like coon for white people. You know, that's a great word. Like, there is slang that you can take from other communities, right? That this is how language evolves and everything. But to, like, put on this mask of, I speak like this, you don't. I know you don't, right? Because there are great words that the African-American community has come up with, right? There's great expressions. Hurt dog, don't holler. Like, these are good expressions and everyone uses them. But come on, like, you're going to speak like that? Come on, dude, someone's got to tell you that you can speak like yourself. I know you don't speak like that. And if you do, you look fucking silly.
I can't be the only person on the planet that didn't know that you can just pick a piece of fruit off of a tree and eat it. I had a friend come over a few weeks ago and she was like, Carly, why do you have a bag of lemons in your fridge? And I said, oh, well, I use lemons in my cooking a lot and sometimes I put them in my sparkling water. And she was just like, no, but why do you have a bag of lemons from the store? And I said, oh, well, sometimes I cook with them and I also put them in. And she said, no, you have a lemon tree outside. And I said, okay. And she said, so why do you buy lemons? And I said, because I cook with them. And she said, Carly, you have a lemon tree. You just pick the lemons off the tree and you put them in your food or in your sparkling water. And I said, don't you have to do something to them? And she said, what do you mean? And I said, you don't have to do anything to the lemons? And she was pretty upset, which I guess I am one of the very few people. I didn't think that I was one of the very few people, but maybe I am one of the very few people that didn't know that there's nothing that you have to do to a lemon before you eat it from a tree. You can just take it off the tree. Am I the only person? I'm 28, for reference. Am I the only person? Say no.
Now, we could say this is for attention, but it's not beyond me that the TikTok plebeian is listening to so much Candace Owens and Ian Carroll that they have neglected their reality. It's really funny because I remember that there's this quote that people always say where, you know, at a certain point, technology gets so advanced that it's indistinguishable from magic. Now, even natural processes are going to be like this, man. You ever talk to a younger person, like a young kid? I have family. Oh, KL is talking to kids. Shut the fuck up. You're a retard. You know, you talk to these young kids, they don't know anything. A lot of them, they don't know any. They know about some things, right? And I respect that. You know, like they'll know about Roblox and coding and shit. And it's like, all right, that's cool, man. But like, I find that because I'm an antique collector, they don't know anything about antiques, and I don't even blame them because I don't know why I know about antiques. Most people my age don't know about antiques except anything that a hipster brought back, right? If I talk to someone about like, I don't even know how it's called in English, right? When I won by the fleet, right? Like that's how they used to fumigate houses. They don't know what you're talking about. The antique market's in the toilet. But at a certain point, we're going to lose our ability to understand how food works. This is idiocracy in the making. It's going to happen. And that opens up a lot of intellectual and commercial opportunities for a lot of people. So a lot of people would watch this and cry, like A Little Rittenhouse. That's right, run. But I look at this and the store looks at this. I think in some ways there is like some conspiracy theory to be made here about how they don't want you to plant your own fruits, man. They want the GDP to go up, right? I think it's illegal to collect your own rainwater in some places, right? Because it hurts the power company, the water company. But at this point, we're so detached from the material, from the real, right? But that now it's like all commodified. Like this is the final step of financialization. When you see, and this is why when people say like, oh, can AI pass the Turing test? Dude, I think Gemini is more cognizant than most people in the world at this point. Well, most people, you look at it like, what do you even think when you hear this, right?
Technically, according to the strict law of the Torah, not one Gentile in the world deserves to live.
You don't know that you can pick fruits off your tree? Okay, well then I guess it's more money for Walmart. Good for them, right? Good for them. J-Boss says, isn't Goy the coon for white people? Maybe on some... No, dude, I think that's totally off because Goy is just Gentile, right? Gentile means someone that's not of the Jewish faith. It's like it's an outsider thing, and we use it colloquially, right, to be like, oh, you know, like you're being stupid, you're betting, you know, like Rabbi Mizrahi says, right? You're smoking grass and watching the football, right? But coon is a particular word that I learned this from my black friends when I was probably in high school. It means that you're part of the group, right? Like you are a black American. That's the group that came up with this, but you're showing out for someone else, right? You can be showing out generally for the white man, right? Like you showing out for the white man. And that word, I don't think any other ethnic group has it, unfortunately. And I really want it. I want us to have one for Hispanics. Because people say like coconut, you know, but that's not what it means. Like it's like put your tap dancing shoes on, get the shoe shine, and start dancing. That's what it actually means. Like you're a tap dancing guy, right? That you're tap dancing for the white man. That's what it actually means. Remember the guy, politician on a plane looking at farms and asking what they are? No, I don't remember that. I don't. Please send that in the Discord. That's very funny. J-Boss says traitor. No, I don't even think it's a traitor, man, because a traitor is more like Uncle Tom. Coon is more like classically, right? It's like if you were like, you know, the house slave, right? Like if you're the house slave, you're it's like if you're doing a minstrel show. That's what it means, right? That if you're doing a minstrel show, if you're acting a fool for the entertainment of white people, that's what it means traditionally. That's the origins, but it has been expanded, right? So like if I see someone who's saying the word Latinx unironically and they're like a Hispanic and they don't speak Spanish or something like that, and they're using the word Latinx, I'll be like, you're cooning out, right? Because you're doing that for the entertainment of the whites. You're not doing it for us. You're doing it for them. That's what it would mean. Like keeping it real, I think would be the best analog, right? Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I think we can skip this for the day. Let's check in over here. This would be for Slave Watch, Roman. We have to go back to Slave Watch. So let's watch it here, though, and then we're going to move on to the main story and start taking calls.
So my husband and I both worked full-time corporate jobs, and we saved up. We're in Hawaii. We're on a beautiful family vacation. at a beautiful resort. And this morning, at about 9 a.m. Hawaii time, he gets a call from his boss and says, we need to get you on Teams. Now they know he's on vacation. He's supposed to be on vacation the rest of the week. This is our first full day in Hawaii. And he gets on Teams, and within minutes, it's terminated. And we're supposed to just enjoy our vacation like nothing happened. I pray I didn't just break my iWatch. I just dropped it. Anyway, you know, he's like, it couldn't have waited till Monday. They couldn't have waited till Monday to allow him, you know, we save all this money, we work hard in our jobs, and you go enjoy it. And there's just no heart.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
First of all, why are you taking your work call on vacation? I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm French when it comes to this. At 5 o'clock, it's you won't get ahead on your career. Get ahead in my career. Get ahead in my career. Come on, man.
Come on, man. This is a free man talking.
What are you talking about? Oh, career. What is this? Whip. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why are you answering phone calls about work? What are you talking about? You're on vacation. You're on vacation. You are on vacation and you're answering work calls. Now, if you're going to answer and they tell you I'm fired, that is Christoph presenting you with a total alleviation, right? Because, you know, you could start worrying, how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to feed my family? You could start doing that, right? Because I don't know, that's how you want to live your life, right? But or you could go, now I don't have to worry about getting back to work. Maybe we extend the vacation, actually. You know what? Maybe we look at property down here. Is it cheaper to live down here? They just opened a whole world of possibilities up for you that you can really just open your mind. If you work for someone that would fire you on vacation, don't you want to be fired on vacation anyway? That way you know to leave or to be forced to leave. Also, you probably have a good severance. You should be happy about that. I mean, Cobra insurance is going to suck, but you'll figure it out. I don't understand how people are still holding on to these vestiges of the 20th century where like, oh, they're heartless. Yes, they're heartless. They're corporations. What do you expect? You expect them to have a heart? This country has owners, right? I mean, not to be George Carlin or anything. They're heartless. They don't give a shit about you. Whoever told you that? This is really Malcolm X stuff, man. Like, this is real. You got to watch the Malcolm X speeches, man. When Malcolm X was talking about, you see, back in the day, there used to be the field slave and the house slave. He used another word, right? He'd be like, the field slave, you know, he was out in the working all day, you know, being hit by the master and all that. The house slave, he was at home, right? And the house slave was so hypnotized. He was so... I'm not... Where is it? Where's this one? Where is it? Here we go. He was so brainwashed.
We brainwashed out here, bro.
That when Massa was sick, he would say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick." Massa's house was on fire. The house slave would say, "What's the matter, Massa? Our house on fire." The field slave, on the other hand, he would say, "Massa's sick. Fuck him. Massa's house on fire. Good. More wind," as we say on this show. More wind, right? This is real. Like, I don't know what happened to Americans at some point. There used to be more dignity in this. Listen, man, they're going to fire all of you. Let them fire everyone. If everyone's in the same boat, they're in the same boat. Also, there's a lot of people who are in this position and they've made it work out, okay? You can figure something out. You can. Your hubby got fired. I don't know, dude. Figure some shit out. Dude, I'm sure. Look, there's so many avenues open for you nowadays. Some of them I wouldn't recommend, but there are so many avenues that you could take these days. You could, I don't know, defect to North Korea. No, you shouldn't do that. That's illegal, right? And do propaganda for them. You could move to Guatemala and just live there for a couple of years. You'll be fine. You could Go work for the government, get some shitty job or something like that. They get a lot of vacation. But this is just sick in my mind. It's sick. How you doing, Simosion? J-Boss says, come on, KL, you know no one in America is on vacation if they have a job. Except for public sector employees, man. You mean like that they take the call? That's on you, man. You need to establish your boundaries. You really do need to establish boundaries. Because this wasn't overnight. I saw this happening little by little. This is why remote work, I was very suspicious of it. Because I was like, dude, you're letting this come into your home. You think this is a good idea. But it kind of worked out for some people. But boundaries are very important with work and all this, man. Like, this is great. This is why you should be keeping a journal of any microaggression you felt at work. You should be keeping a journal of every bad thing that's happened at your company, especially if you live in a state like California. Oof, I envy you. In the non-right to work state, just be ready to do something, man, because you got to establish your boundaries. Simosion says, you mean that the military gave you 30 days off a year and actually make you take them, though they hold it above your head that you can't quit, take your PTO, and you have to come back to work? I didn't know that's how the military worked, dude. I was in El Salvador probably like 4 years ago, and I went surfing in Surf City, and there was a white guy there who was a really cool guy. And I was like, dude, what do you do? He's like, oh, man, I live in Iowa. And I was like, what do you do? And he's like, I'm an accountant for the feds. I was like, what, like FBI? I was like, no, dude, I forgot what it was. Probably like Social Security Administration. I was like, how is that? He was like, dude, it's fucking awesome, man. I have like so much vacation. I'm here for another 2 weeks, and then I'm going to Costa Rica. Like, really? He says, yeah, dude. I mean, the pay's all right, but I get so much paid vacation. I've seen like 3 countries in Africa, most of Latin America. I'm doing this shit for life. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. J-Boss says, I get paid for 1.5 hours for overtime. I don't want boundaries. Well, that's a strategic calculation, and I respect that. All right. Speaking of this, we're going to open up the phone lines to start doing this. We're gonna should we talk about this? I'll open it up if anyone wants to call in. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's do that, because we have to talk about Andrew Tate, Andres Tate, who's in trouble. Let me open these up here. We should have a screener for these, but I guess we'll learn our lesson one of these days. All right, let me have this open here. Maybe over here. Let me do this like this. I bet this is the easiest way. Yeah, it's like, all right, cool. So this is very interesting. All right, we have to talk about Andrew Tate. Now, I did a little research on this. As you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of Andrew Tate. I've talked about him before. I find Andrew Tate to be annoying. I don't like the guy. There's something about him I don't like. He was arrested in my hometown here. I drove by the prison today, actually, downtown. And I was yelling. I was like, Andres Tate, how you doing, my brother? You know, because he's downtown. It's crazy the way the prison works in Miami, because the prison they built a building with a pool across from the Fed prison. And it's like a bunch of violent people usually in the federal prison, right? And so they like look at the ladies sunbathing and yell at them. And like anything in Miami, it's a scam, right? Because they built that knowing that was a problem. But they built it like that, right? They built it like that. So he's in that prison. And it's like, all right. So I'm not going to be like, oh, you know, I don't follow this case. I don't know what the fuck Andrew Tate has done or hasn't done. We're going to look at this here. I just find him to be incredibly annoying. And my bigger question for this segment tonight, and if anyone can help me answer it, is there's like an angle here where I saw Nick Fuentes, we're going to play him, my Hispanic brother, Nick Fuentes, was making the case that this is political, you know, that this is a crucifixion. Oh, Simosion, thank you for the super chat, sir. Wow. Thank you for the super chat, sir. I appreciate that. For the gifted memberships. Thank you, sir. That's very nice. Thank you, sir. That's really great. Dude, you're one of our best supporters here. You're in the Chiron, right, Simosion? I put you there. I'm going to make an ad for the Patreon, but brother, you're one of the best, man. You really are one of the best. You keep the lights on around here. I'm going to start doing more stuff for the regular videos because I have to do the Deconstructing Woke series, but I think I found a new angle for the regular videos that I'm going to enjoy. So thank you so much, sir. But yeah, so Andrew Tate was arrested. And they're making it political, right? They're saying, you know, where's the clip?
This is a crucifixion. This is political. And don't tell me it's not.
That's what most people sound. And I'm just sitting here wondering, what the hell has Andrew Tate done politically? You know, I don't get it. Like, what is Andrew Tate's? What is he doing with people? I remember he used to talk about the Matrix and all that, but, and this is my argument, I always found Andrew Tate, by preaching hustle culture, grind culture, it's just Gary Vee repackaged for young people, but more abrasive, right? It's like, you're escaping the Matrix by getting a Bugatti. That doesn't really strike me as a, you know, working more in the system. So I don't know how that's really dangerous to the government. If you tell people, hey, to escape how bad the world is, you're going to have to work harder and scam people. Isn't that what they want you to do? I don't know. All right. Anyway, let's look at this here. All right. Let's look at this. All right. So here is Andrew Tate, the Crown Prosecution Service, because the UK is the one who wants him. The UK is saying, we need Andrew Tate right now. Boys and girls, send us Andrew Tate. And America obviously has an extradition agreement with the UK. I think the way the extradition agreement works, we're going to use Gemini a lot tonight for this stuff, man. Let's do this because let me close this here. Let's do this here. All right. So Andrew Tate's extradition to the UK. How does it work? Extradition from the US to the UK. I'm writing like a retard. I should just use the microphone. Is it because the crime is a crime in both countries or what? Because that's normally how extradition works. Let's see how this is. What it says here. Dude, I don't know what I would do without this fucking bot, man. This is a great bot. One of my favorites. I don't like GPT. I haven't used GPT in like 2 years. Yes, dual criminality is one of the core principles of extradition law. A person can only be extradited from the U.S. to the U.K. if the underlying conduct is a serious crime under the laws of both countries. All right, perfect. That's now I understand. Okay, perfect. Yeah, all right. So this is the request that they put out here. The Crown Prosecution Service has decided to bring further charges against brothers Andrew and Tristan Tate in relation to 4 additional victims. Following their arrest in the U.S., the CPS will be seeking their extradition in relation to the original 21 charges they face, as well as the further charges that they have decided to prosecute. Let me send this here real quick to the fucking bot. What are these charges? Please answer with a basic list. You know, it's funny because I say please and thank you to Gemini, and they actually did a study, and Venezuelans are the ones who say thank you to Gemini the most, to ChatGPT, like in the whole world, Venezuelans. So I guess it must be Venezuelan politeness. Andrew Tate, 3 counts of rape, 4 counts of assault, occasionally actual bodily harm, 2 counts of human trafficking, 1 count of controlling prostitution for gain, 7 counts of... Dude, this is crazy. These are crazy charges. Wow. All right. Does it look like there's actual physical evidence for this? Let's see this here. It has to be something, right? Specific categories rather than physical. Fuck. Yeah, digital. All right, that's a real evidence. Digital. That's how they got Weinstein. Indecent images of a child and extreme. Okay, that's crazy. Medical and contemporaneous documentation. Well, medical. Dude, that's pretty not good, man. That's not good. Testimonial. Yeah, this I'm not gonna address. I'm not going through the planter thing. This is actually legit. I guess there's no physical evidence, but there is actual digital evidence. You know, this still has to go to a court. How you doing, Robbie? Still has to go to a court. All right, let's continue. So this is the Telegraph who covered it. Andrew Tate faces charges of rape, blah, 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 blah. This is how he was arrested here in Miami. In my native Miami. Let's check this out here. Let's put this on 1.25 because it's a longer version of this arrest.
Mr. Tate, would you mind signing?
Hey, Tate. Back up. Back up.
So these are the U.S. Marshals that are arresting him, is my understanding. I don't understand why he's in the U.S., given that the U.S. and the U.K. have an extradition agreement. Wouldn't you want to go to somewhere? Wouldn't you want to go to another country that doesn't have extradition or hide out? Because we're going to see what Mr. Fuentes had to say here about this. But, he said like, because Trump is president. Why would you, even with Trump as president, this is the judicial system. I guess Trump can manipulate it for you, right? But this strikes me as a bad decision if you're wanted. It strikes me as stupid, especially to come to Miami. Why don't you just go to Dubai? Isn't that where every half a criminal in the world is? Dubai. All right, and getting arrested in a very zesty outfit. Let's see that outfit one more time. Let's see that. Come on here. Wait, where's the outfit? The start of the video, I think. This is right in downtown Miami, bro. Like, he had like a 5-minute drive to the prison. Look at this. Very zesty outfit. Very beautiful. All right, excellent. All right, so I also wanted to show you this. This is really stupid. He tweeted this. Your wife will never win governor unless you arrest me, Ron DeSantis. You've proven to be a communist who attacks American citizens for zero. When Americans who are unfairly imprisoned abroad return home, you betray them. You better nail me now. Let's go arrest me. He tweeted this last year, the 14th of March. Listen, there's no one that dislikes Ron DeSantis more than me, but he can't ask this.
What the fuck is this? Whose ass didn't I kiss?
It's very evident whose ass you didn't kiss. Why would you do this? Why would you come to the States and antagonize the governor? I'm not saying it would have made it better. It's a federal charge, right? It's the U.S. Marshals, but why would you tweet this? All right, whatever. I don't know how this works. This is the drawing in court. I just wanted to show you this. This is him, the U.S. Marshals in court. Let's see arrest footage here. I don't know if you guys want to see it real big there. Let's see this. This is what they look like in court. It's court sketch artists, drew them. Interesting. Great stuff. All right, let's continue. This is one of their friends who flew here to document the whole situation. Let me speed this up here for you so you can see this real quick. Let's look at this.
The Tate brothers are in solitary confinement in Federal Detention Center of Miami, right here behind me, behind these very walls. And I've spent $50,000 on a trip from Dubai to Miami just to make this very video.
The veneers, these are veneers, right? And $50,000 to make this video. Why? Well, let's hear him out. Let's hear him out. Why?
And the least that you can do is watch this video till the end and understand what's really happening and share it as much as possible. So if you care about due process, about human rights, about the America First initiative, or simply what happens to two guys that were, yes, very loud, but also spoke a lot of freaking truth about corruption and other topics that frankly others were too scared to even mention. If you do, if yes, then here is what you need to understand. This is, in my opinion, a lot bigger than most of you think. To begin with, Marco Rubio, as the Secretary of State, actually holds the final decision on whether Andrew and Tristan actually get extradited to the UK. And the arrest was allegedly greenlit by a very low DOJ functionary without any kind of leadership approval. And if it is true, it's unacceptable because it's a huge case. And we should never cheer rogue actors inside the DOJ doing the British government's dirty work. America First means protecting our own processes, not outsourcing justice, if you will, to foreign governments. Andrew and Tristan are US citizens and they do deserve a fair trial. Once again, I'm not advocating whether they're guilty or they're not guilty. I'm not a judge and I haven't seen the evidence. But guess what? Neither has any single one of you, including all of the haters. The UK government is throwing countless allegations with "trust me bro" type of wording and is not releasing any tangible proof of any of it by simply hiding behind privacy of the alleged victims. Sure, fine. All we are asking is that high-level official reviews the evidence privately, but personally. Marco Rubio, for example, so that we are sure beyond a reasonable doubt that it's not some dictatorial power grab silencing technique by the UK government. So if you care at all, tag the Trump family accounts as well as Marco Rubio himself down in the comments and share this video as much as possible. You can either see them on the screen or find them in the video description, and let's get these guys a fair treatment. That's all I'm asking.
So I kind of understand the critique, right? I mean, I guess what he's saying is, and I have those issues with the common law system that happened since Me Too, right? Where it's like, oh, you know, we're not really releasing the indictment because of the privacy of the victims. But I don't understand what you want the government of the United States to do here. You know, if you have an extradition treaty, you honor it. I mean, sometimes you don't, right? Like, for example, I know the Bahamas, if you do tax evasion in the US, you can go to the Bahamas and you'll be fine because it's not illegal to evade your tax in the Bahamas, even though they have an extradition treaty, right? But he's in America, and I'm not trying to side with anyone here. I'm just wondering, like, hang on. Let me ask the bot. Hang on. Let me do the fucking phone here. 1 second. I just saw this Andrew Tate fan say that the charges are trumped up, or that they're not being fully revealed because there's an issue where, you know, they're hiding behind citizens' privacy. Is that true? And I mean, is there no case here? Is the UK just saying, give me this guy? Like, is there no evidence at all? Let's see what it says. $50,000 for that video. You could have made that over there. Let's see this. The claim stems from a genuine legal protection in the UK, but the assertion there's no evidence or no case is incorrect. Complaint names were withheld. Alleged victims of sexual offenses. Look, this is from 92, actually. It's not even from lifelong anonymity to protect them from public harassment and stigma. In this case, a UK High Court judge specifically upheld the prosecutor's decision to delay handling. Under the the UK cannot simply demand a suspect return without submitting a formal legal case. Court documents filed in the U.S. federal courts outline specific claims collected during a multi-year Bedfordshire police investigation. Sworn statements supporting the UK charging standard. Prosecutors are barred from bringing formal charges unless an independent assessment of the police evidence file shows a realistic prospect of conviction. Okay, well, I'm not a lawyer, but it sounds to me, I don't know, I don't know what you want. Hang on, let me ask this here. Has the U.S. ever refused a UK extradition request? I'm sure it's happened in the Cold War or something. 1 second, let's see this here. We're learning here. Yes, but really rare. The Anne Sakulis case. The wife of an American intelligence officer stationed in the UK was involved. Yeah, the car crash. I remember that. The formally rejected. The decision was based on diplomatic immunity, right? But that's different. The Nazi looted art case. Extradition of an American art dealer over charges involving a U.S. federal judge blocked the extradition after finding that the government failed to present sufficient evidence. Okay, so hang on. So, in theory, could someone actually refuse the Andrew Tate thing? See this here, the IRA stuff. During the Troubles, several members of the Provisional IRA escaped to the U.S. The U.S. requested their extradition. And because the acts were committed as part of an active political uprising, they were non-extraditable political offenses. That's crazy. All right. Yes, in theory, a refusal is possible. However, because international extradition is split into two independent filters, the judicial and executive branch, there are only two realistic pathways. A federal judge blocks it, or the Secretary of State intervenes. All right, so you can understand why they're trying to appeal to Marco Rubio. I want to show you this is what Andrew Tate said a few months back about his relationship with President Trump. This is 2024.
And I'm very close to the Trump family. I know them well, and I spoke to Barron after the incident, and I look forward to, once I am free, being with Donald Trump in person and reminding him that he's a bulletproof badass.
This is the attorney for President Trump, somebody who has been a fighter for the America First Party. Her name is Alina Habba, and she joins us live right now.
Hi.
Hello, Alina.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. I'm a big fan.
Well, nice to meet you.
Formal charges against Andrew Tate include rape, human trafficking.
The most important part is this. So I'm still not understanding the calculation here. For someone who's so... Listen, dude, because I now I'm kind of looking at it and I go, aren't you the guy who's aware of the Matrix? The Matrix, bro, they're out to get me. But you're not taking the appropriate precautions to not end up in prison. I mean, don't you have like a bunch of money and shit? Why are you even in the U.S.? I don't... Okay. All right. This is Marco Rubio speaking on the case. They asked him about it. Let's see this here.
One of the U.S. attorney lawyers mentioned you by name. I know one of the Tate brothers' lawyers mentioned you by name. Do you have a plan to get involved with the extradition challenge that they have been...
Mention me by name?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, look, that extraditions, I don't know the details of this particular case. I've been overseas, but I mean, I know who you're talking about. I just don't know the details of it. These cases have a process that they go through in the courts. My understanding is that they're involved in that judicial process. And so that'll play itself out at this point. And there's no role for us to play at this moment or maybe ever in that regard. But I'm not going to opine on something that's still working through a legal process.
Which is a perfectly reasonable... I don't know what the Andrew Tate supporters want. Do they want Marco Rubio to come out there and say, I love Andrew Tate? You're going to have to get him with me. Like, he has no bond, which is, kind of makes sense. Listen, I'm not trying to coon out here, but, he could get on a flight to Venezuela.
For fuck's sake, put him on the next flight to Venezuela.
He could get out of here. I mean, that's something that he would do. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's continue. This is Andrew Tate's relationship with the United Kingdom government, which I think is worth looking at here. This is a clip that came out of... I think this is from the Romania trial.
This is disgusting. Disgusting. We have children. If you fools at DCOC who just came along and told us that the mothers of our children are somehow human trafficked. I'm not a human trafficker, clearly. If you human traffic someone, there is evidence. You know, all 30 of those girls, 30 of them, have statements in our defense. 30 say we've done absolutely nothing wrong. 2 more are the mothers of our children, and 2 more have never even been to Romania. 3 prosecutors at DCOC in my house. I said, why are you here? There's no case. They said, there's a case if we make one. Fair play to that judge who saw through the bullshit and let us free. This is disgusting.
All right. Before we look at this is why the UK government wants him so badly. I think I have this compilation here. Yeah, this is why, in Spanish, in Venezuelan Spanish, they have an expression, which is the fish dies by the mouth. Okay, which is said to you when you're talking a lot, of shit. This is 4 minutes here, and I'm not doing this in a way to bias anyone here. But this, to me, you have to be stupid. Like, there's no way that this makes sense, right? That you would come to the U.S. with a potential case with a country with extradition to the U.S. for human trafficking, and you this is how you were talking online. And I know, like, it's a character to an extent, Andrew Tate, but I mean, let's just listen to this. You can't be saying this kind of stuff all reckless, man. You can't. Think about a lot of things that you say, how they would sound in a court of law. This is advice for life for anyone here, man. Look, I'm not a lawyer, but I'll tell you, look, you have to think about a lot of the things that you text and say being presented before a jury and how they're going to play. Okay? So let's see this here, because this is all recorded online, and the government has this forever.
I was all about trying to get paid. Like, I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house and make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense.
Being kickboxer, yeah, playboy, pimp.
I'm happy with those labels so far. But the majority of my money wasn't made in fighting. My money was actually made in the pimp game. We need to understand some basic concepts to the pimp game. Basic concepts to the realities between men and women.
Women need a man to do OnlyFans. It's the same reason a woman need a man to do anything, because they're incompetent and they're very, very lazy. And they're stupid.
When you're pimping bitches like me, it's a full-time job. So yeah, on CobraTape.com, I have my PhD program, and that is, PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm...
Look at the camera and smile so you can see this great. Welcome to the Tate PhD course. If you've bought this course, which you obviously have, congratulations, you're going to change your life for the better. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm fucking certified. I know I don't look like a pimp right now.
Clever. That teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me.
If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. By taking girls who didn't know how to be effective on webcam, girls who had never done webcam before, girls who didn't have the equipment, didn't have the know-how, didn't have the will, didn't have the premises, didn't have the ability to make money with this exchange. I created a system that allowed me to convince girls to do this, allowed me to retain 100% control of their income. You start with a girl, you download OnlyFans on your phone, you take her ID pictures, her name, everything it takes to verify the account. You verify the account on your phone and you control the account. So you are now in charge of her OnlyFans. I learned every tip and trick it takes to make sure a girl gets paid. I know how to make sure the girl can't run away.
And of course, they don't go out. They're not allowed out. You stay in the house.
Because once you teach a girl how to do this, she has the ability to make unlimited money from home. Why would she still give it to you? Why would she just run off and keep it all for herself? Okay, that's enough. Like, this is my question with this. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if this is illegal. I know a girl. Well, she's actually like a cousin who knows a guy who knows another guy in Medellin, because my cousin lives there. Who that guy that knows that guy runs one of these businesses. And I learned about it earlier this year because I visited, and I didn't meet him directly, but she was describing to me like the economy in Medellin, and she was like, that's a big part of it here, She didn't say anything like this to me, And I'm sure it's a similar setup to an extent. I don't know. There's like law enforcement and all that, right? To make sure that it doesn't get into an abusive place. But why would you say this publicly is my question. I don't understand how this is supposed to work. Where, dude, my cousin told me that guy was super rich, but he's not making courses about it. Because this reminds me of, because I know Andrew Tate is a scammer with the Hustlers University and all that. I guess is like another kind of scam, right? Like if it's Ed and Eddie, right? Like a scam. But why would you, if you have a good scam, this is the thing with life, right? Well, if you ever have someone offering you a day trading course or a course on how to make a lot of money, why would they give you that information if they were using it to make money, right? So it kind of puts it in doubt where I'm saying, did Andrew Tate actually do this, or was this a marketing gimmick to get big? But either way, you've given the courts like so much stuff that they can use. Why would you do this? That's why would you do this? Maybe I'm thinking too legalistically, but it just doesn't make sense to me as to why you would publish this so openly, right? Because it's like if I started a course tomorrow and I was like, I'm not going to tell you how to sell drugs, but I'm going to tell you how you could sell drugs and make a lot of money in a like sort of legal way. Like if I started a course, this is a perfect example. If I started a course tomorrow and I was like, this is how you make synthetic marijuana like K2, chemically get it done in China in order to sell it here. Now that's not illegal, right? It's not illegal to make that. But why would I tell you to do that if I was making money off of it? It's just, and it's probably something you don't want the feds to know about regardless, because it's a dirty business, like I'm sure the people who make K2 and all this, it's legal and everything, but they don't want to get a lot of attention on themselves. All right. And so here he is. This is where I think it gets a little interesting. Here he's explaining why the UK wants him in jail. The problem with England is that they can't fix their problems. So what they want to do is deal with the person who highlights the problems, which is me. They can't fix any of it. So they're saying, well, who's talking about this? This guy. Well, we can't fix this. So let's at least make the guy pointing it out go away. And that's why they're trying to pretend I'm somehow dangerous.
Not the people who stab everyone on the street. Not the people who do drugs.
No.
Not the unlimited migrants arriving by boat without passports. No. Me, the man with no criminal conviction who talks on the internet about getting strong and sticking up for what you believe in. I'm the bad guy. The problem with England is that
I don't know. Is this true? Listen, do we have any English people here? You know, I hope that J-Boss has a chance to call in today, dude, because I feel like he would know more about this. Is Andrew Tate really that much of a threat to the English? Let me ask Gemini, but I want someone to tell me. I'm seeing Andrew Tate saying that the UK wants to arrest him because he seems to be like such a threat to the UK system and way of life. Is there any truth to this? I don't really understand what Andrew Tate is preaching that is in contradiction with the UK way of life, right? Like, he's not advocating for communism and like a violent overthrow. He's actually telling people to just do hustle culture. So why would they get him for that? Let's check this here real quick. Because of hustle culture rhetoric makes it a threat to the state as a common public defense frame for users, but does not align with how the UK legal system operates on the actual legal basis of the arrest. Ideology and hustle culture are not illegal. Right, but let's be a little bit less biased against Tate. Let's try to like think about this here. Look, the UK courts, they railroad people all the time, like that girl who leaked the UN blackmail during the Iraq War. So, I mean, let's take him at his word. Does this even make sense internally? Yeah, Catherine Gunn. I don't know if anyone knows about this. It was an interesting case. A GCHQ analyst who leaked a secret NSA memo directly exposed top secret government intelligence. Okay. Testing Tate's narrative for internal consistency. If we take where the logic fits, systemic resistance to disruptive cultural personalities, public figures who amass massive independent media networks, bypass traditional broadcasting, and encourage alternative financial or institutional setups frequently face intense political and corporate pushback. From a purely media strategy standpoint, framing legal troubles as a political attack is an internally logical way to maintain the loyalty of an audience that already distrusts mainstream institutions. Where it struggles, unlike Catherine Gunn or Julian Assange, where the state prosecuted an individual for leaking government secrets, the UK charges against Tate stem from claims filed by 7 private individuals. For the state stitch-up theory to work internally, one must assume that the state security services manufacture coordinated sworn criminal complaints. Oh, they can do that, right? Over 2 different decades, long before Tate achieved global fame or political visibility. The case includes 19 counts involving a child abuse material and extreme prawn found on seized digital hardware. In criminal law, physical and digital, yeah, that's true, are objective physical artifacts. The legal actions are not isolated to its summary. While states certainly use legal power to protect their interests against whistleblowers who expose government secrets, applying that same model to Tate's situation requires assuming a multi-jurisdictional conspiracy involving private citizens, local police departments, and physical electronic evidence collected years before his public rise. Okay. So I just have trouble believing this narrative. Eve says, no shit, truth, sir. He is American. I want to see the evidence before the UK puts Americans in prison to show the USA. Right, but if you're a citizen of a foreign country too, right? I mean, isn't that how that works? Where if you're a citizen of America and you're charged in America, and in the UK, you're not, they don't have an interest in charging you because it's not an offense against the US. It's an offense towards the UK. Wouldn't they want him over there? I don't know. All right. I'm not a lawyer here. I'm not super familiar with this. Okay. This is, by the way, a 3-hour podcast he did that was released as soon as he was arrested, basically, with this Jack Neal guy. I'm not going to watch this whole thing with you. We're not going to watch this whole thing together.
Andrew, 2 years ago, you and I sat in Romania for a 5-hour conversation. I opened with a quote from you that you haven't fully been able to explain until now. First, they try and cancel you. Then they put you in jail. And if that doesn't work, they kill you. Andrew Tate, what's the real reason you were canceled? And what's the real reason you were put in jail?
Well, thank you for taking the time to do this, Jack.
I'm not sure when this is.
Oh, J Boss is calling in. Let's get him in here. Let's listen to what's going on here. J Boss, how's it going, man?
Hi, King Leo. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, man. Spain #1, right? We won.
Number one.
Number
Number
one in
one,
the
my
world.
friend.
All right. So, are you more familiar with this? Like, do you? Am I off base here with my confusion?
I have an opinion about why is it that the UK is so concerned about this. I don't know if you've covered this already, but incidentally, not to shill for another, but everybody knows about Tim Pool, but he wasn't at his show tonight, and it was watchable. And he actually had a guest, and also the general conversation was about more or less what I'm going to get into here. His guest, by the way, is a parallel to Andrew Tate in a sense that I'm going to cover here. So basically, the UK and the European and American world in general, we are leaderless. We are without a leader. No thought leader, no ideology to follow, and we are just at sea and without any leadership and without any plan. And so the UK has been complaining quite explicitly that its youth, and so I suppose that means the school children, but basically men in school, boys in school, they have been quite attracted to Andrew Tate's philosophy. So they have run a few, journalistic hit pieces, let's say, on these extreme, these kids becoming, what's the verb? Extremalized? I forgot.
Extremists?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, they have been becoming extremists. And so, but of course, this extremist is simply, they think that Andrew Tate is cool, and they think that masculinity is cool, but they use that word extremist. He's become extremist. So the point is this is not just a UK thing, but of course, they are afraid, and they need to smear, therefore, Andrew Tate as much as possible in the eyes of everyone, so that it percolates down to the kids, so that they think it's uncool and they don't take any new ideas from Andrew Tate regarding masculinity, especially. Now, and then I'm going to shut up a little bit, but I'm going to just say this last bit, is that we are getting increasingly more people like Andrew Tate who are not necessarily white. Just like this guy who was a Native American on Tim Pool's show tonight. And he's like, I think, half white and half Native American, but he identifies as Native American. And he was saying that white people need to take care so that they don't disappear. Those were basically his words. And there's a new anxiety about white people that is becoming seen by everyone, and everyone is looking at each other and giving each other the look. And we're all looking for someone to tell us what to do, how to go forward. And so they need to shut up, especially people like Andrew Tate, and especially people like the Tim Pool's guest, I forgot the name of the guy. Because if you get the minorities also agreeing with this, the new way forward, let's call it that, and I've already predicted with you that there's going to be more, racism, there's going to be more identity consciousness, and it's not a thing on the left. Identity politics is not a thing on the left. So a wolf knows it's a wolf, and they're not leftists. And a bear knows it's a bear, and they're not leftists. So knowing who you are is not identity politics. It's simply sanity. If they allow these people who are minorities to basically take the side of white people, then it's going to make their lives and their manipulation of all the information, all of society, all throughout media, much, much harder. Because at that point, we lose what you have put the video about guilt and shame. We basically lose that. Because if you can understand, now we're going to be able to point and say, well, hold on a second. But this guy is Andrew Tate. He's whatever his ethnicity is. This guy is Native American, and he's saying he's agreeing with me. And so now we're going to lose the guilt and shame. We're going to lose the control. the people, the plebs, the hoi polloi at large are going to be able to say, no, I don't care what you think anymore because these guys agree with me and so on. And they're going to lose the plot forever. And that is coming. There is no helping it anymore. It is gravity bound. Go ahead.
Now, I would say in reply to that, let's assume everything you're saying is the way it is, right? Andrew Tate, and maybe it's my ignorance, what is he making you an extremist on? On like, what is the last what I recall of Andrew Tate is he would tell people to do scams, to convert to Islam. I remember one time he praised ISIS. Even if what you're saying is true, J Boss, what is he inspiring in the British youth that is a threat to the state? Because I just see it as more like if everyone did what Andrew Tate wanted, it would be like everyone listening to Gary Vee, right? Isn't that what that's my criticism of this hustle culture? It's just like, oh, let's just make a lot of money to buy material things. Like that is reinforcing the system.
I know, and it's funny that you mentioned that he's of that religion, Islamic, because you would think that the UK would want people like that to become a leader for white people in the UK, I guess, right? But no, they don't want it because the answer to your question in one word is masculinity. That's what he is an extremist in. And we have been for the last, well, ever since 1950s, sliding towards a more feminized society. And they're not going to want to interrupt that flow right now because the more we go on, it's an ever edging sort of a what is that point? The nuclear point when it's a threat. I forgot what it's called. But basically,
DEFCON.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yes, exactly. And so basically, it's all the more important now to maintain the narrative. That's what I'm saying. And the quickest path to get out of that narrative, in other words, the new generation, for them to get out of that path, the quickest way for them to do it is to adopt masculinity. Because then with that comes all the stuff that you don't like about what's that guy that does the debates? I keep forgetting
Andrew
the
Wilson.
Christian
Andrew
guy.
Wilson.
Exactly. Thank you. Basically,
but
you get everything that he brings. Go ahead, please.
But it isn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base here. Andrew Tate, and you know how my theories on masculinity or whatever. So because he's like a cartoon of what that would be, right? Like, what cut is you bugatti? I'm smoking a cigar, like, and dressed very fruity. Which I dress fruity as well. I'm not gonna shade on him for that. But how is he making people more masculine? Is my question, just by like yelling more? Is that what is the masculinity that he is bringing to the British youth and the global youth?
Yeah, I know that you're asking about Andrew Tate, but just to say yes, Andrew Wilson definitely plays it up. Andrew Wilson is his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they both were Andrew. So the way I suppose Andrew Tate, he brings a package with him. For instance, I don't know everything about the hustling culture, everything about the pimping is completely new to me because I don't listen to him that much. I don't listen to a lot of people that much. But I think within his package, there's a lot of masculinity messaging. I remember maybe it was that other guy that I forgot the name. That is, I think he's African and you don't think he's African. I forgot the name now. I don't do drugs, ladies and gentlemen, but I am on caffeine, so that's somehow it's impacting me. Okay. So, but the thing is this: it's a guy that has a podcast. Myron Gaines. Yes. I was like Ayers Gaines. Yeah, exactly that. Myron Gaines. I think has played many of these clips from Andrew Tate, and mostly they are about masculinity. It's the same thing with Myron Gaines in the sense that he has all sorts of messaging. It's a whole package, but there is a core, a spine of masculinity behind. And I think that is what the messaging ends up coming through because, these kids in school are not interested in pimping girls and putting them in front of webcams. That's not what the message that is reaching them actually is. whatever is reaching them is simply about the posture. It's about how you present yourself. It's about self-respect. And all those things, maybe they're not explicit with Andrew Tate. Again, I'm not an expert on him, but it does come through. And because people are thirsty for that, that is what they end up listening and catching from that. That's what comes through to them.
Okay, I still fail to see how that is a threat to the state, in the sense of they want people to. That's my biggest anti-masculinity thing, right? Is to they're gonna use that energy to get you to sign up for the military, right? That's the way that I see. I mean, if you were preaching, like, I think the only things that would really harm the state are like tax avoidance, and probably, if we're gonna go in the manosphere thing that would hurt the state the most is probably MGTOW, because then you're reducing the tax base significantly. But I don't see him preaching that, you know? In fact, I think he's preaching the opposite. Like, let's go get all these children and all this. Let's make. I don't know.
I guess here's what I would say about that. It's just like and I'm not going to deny that. I always like to do the granting for argumentation purposes. So let's grant that you're completely right. The point is this: you can put out a product. I'm just going to make an analogy. And if people start using that product differently, you can't say, "Oh, my customers are wrong." The customer is always right, not because of what people say, but because they're paying you. And so it's the same here. If the kids are taking from Andrew Tate that masculinity is good, then who are you and I to say, "Oh, but he's not selling masculinity"? Maybe I agree with you. I don't know. I am not an expert on him. So let's just grant that he's not selling masculinity at all. Still, nevertheless, these kids, that's what they're hearing from him. And so that's why the UK is panicking. And to your point about the army, that's not going to work anymore, because everyone nowadays, maybe it's just my circles, but they associate going into the army with fighting for another nation. And so that's not going to, it's not masculine anymore to be a cuck with a gun. It's not masculine anymore. That ship has sailed. And so now they're afraid of what is it that people are going to do with masculinity. Well, they're going to turn inward, and they're going to play up this, we're 8% of the world as white people, we're disappearing, we need to do something about it. And it's not going to be by fighting for another country that we're going to win this.
But so do you think this is political? Like, you think he's onto something, or do you think? Because look, at the end of the day, let's put all this aside really quick. Yeah. This is the dumbest. This guy's an idiot. I don't even know what lawyer or counsel would tell him to come to a country of extradition, right? Like, this is. I don't know. Like,
this is probably a very big tactical mistake. I agree. Yeah.
So is this political? I mean, I don't.
Are you asking me if the arrest is political?
Yeah. Do you think it's political?
Without more information, it's very, very hard to say. If I had to guess, I would say that it's probably political. I think that the UK has a lot of influence, and I think that they really want this guy. From all of the coverage on their news programs that I have seen, they're really mad that he exists and that whatever he's saying is being heard by the new generation in this masculine way. And if you think about it, what are the other masculine, even if you don't agree that he is one, but what are the other choices that people have to follow? And so if he's the only one, then all the more that this makes him a target to go and erase him from the public consciousness.
Okay. All right. That's a good take. Let's see if we get anyone else on the line. Thank you,
Absolutely.
sir. I appreciate it.
Always glad to contribute. My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. That's all right. That's food for thought. I understand what J Boss is saying there. I get it. How do I do this here? Waiting. There we go. All right. So if anyone else wants to call in, let me catch up with the chat. I understand what he means, but that is a good question. Who else is masculine? What does masculine mean these days? I can tell you what's not masculine. I can't tell you what is masculine, because I look at Andrew Tate and I'm not sure, maybe I'm just biased or something, right? Let me catch up with the chat here real quick. I know Simotion wanted to call How you doing, Mushrumbo? Eve says, I see it as an act. Is he really that evil? I ask because I don't know. Well, I don't know if Andrew Tate. I prefer not to look at things through evil or good, right? Personally, but I definitely think there's an act to this. Absolutely. Getting a call here. Let's see. Hello, hello.
Hey man, how's it going? This is Kim Jen.
What's up, man? How you doing? What do you think about this whole thing?
I don't even really feel strong most about it. I was just listening to Jay Boston. You know, we had a great conversation on Discord. Everyone signed up for Discord. But my take is, it's not like he's being accused of, government secrets leaking or, crimes against the crown. He's being accused of being a child predator. And they have actual evidence that they found stuff that he did indulge in CP. And so I'm like, okay, so that's something to accuse him about. But the problem with Andrew Tate, in my opinion, is he's a dual citizen. He's both a U.S. citizen and a UK citizen. So if you're willing to be a citizen of two countries, you have to follow the rules and regulations. So the fact that UK is wanting him back doesn't surprise me. He is a citizen of the country and has to follow the rules. And regardless of what we would think in America, congratulations, dude. Maybe they're more lenient. I don't know. But that's what they're accusing him of. And to be honest, every single time I see this guy, I just want to bitch slap him in the face.
I understand that feeling. It's odd because I looked it up while you were there, because you're right. They're saying, I don't know how the courts work over there or anything, right? But they are accusing him of having underage material. And if they're going by UK law, the age of consent is 16. So that would mean someone under the age of 16, which is kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. That is.
I'm not going to lie. I'm up there in age. Okay, I'm not up to Evie's level, but I respect my elders. But I'm just saying, man. I don't think you would do this unless you actually had evidence or even request it. You had to pull this guy in the United States and drag him over. Why? This isn't who was it? Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard levels. This isn't hearsay. This isn't crap on the bed levels. This is we have evidence that you indulged in, CP, and that's really weird. So no, I don't think this is the UK government tracking down him. But I will, once again, if we can cover account Binface before the end of the stream, I would greatly appreciate it. Because I think that shows that the UK government isn't completely vindictive, that they're not just randomly going after this guy for no reason. If you got a guy with a fucking bin on his face running against Nigel Farage and he's the number 2 opponent, I think that says a lot about your politics and what they're worried about. And again, evidence will show up in court. You always have to go through the court processes. They always take a lot of time. I know we're all worried about them, but I do enjoy looking at Dash Law on Reddit. Oh yes, I am a Redditor, and all that type of stuff. But court cases take a long time. There's a lot of discovery phases. There's a lot of fact-finding phases, and Tate might win on his principles. That's fine. And you know what? As I always say to everyone, let 12 peers of your people judge you in a court case and let them decide your fate, because that is the best example to do that with. And if we don't even want to do these steps and we're well, why should you have to appear in front of a court? It's no, that's not how the court systems works. That's not how our justice system works. You get judged in front of 12 of your peers and they decide your fate. And if you can make a good case for you, they will probably maybe, give you leniency. I mean, Harvey Weinstein just got off.
Right. And I don't even, like you're saying, right? he's going to go to court. I don't know if he's guilty or not. We don't know. And obviously people get railroaded in court or everything, right? But you have to see how, and the thing I don't get is, let's say that Andrew Tate is completely right. Like it's totally political or something, right? Then why are you putting yourself in a position where you can be arrested, right? Like when Carlos Ghosn was, they wanted to arrest him in Japan for like some accounting fraud or something. He just went to Lebanon because he's a Lebanese citizen and they haven't extradited him. Like, why would you do this to yourself? It's one of those things where I'm like, I saw Nick Fuentes saying like, oh, Andrew Tate, if Trump's president, you should feel safe in the country because it's political. And I'm like, I don't see how this makes sense. If you really want to escape prosecution because you think it's unfair, I might even sympathize, like Papillon or something, right? But like, you can't put yourself in a position where you're going to get in trouble. Like you're going to get picked up.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it's important to realize that the court justice system may not be perfect. Like we all have complaints about it. I have many complaints about many things, or cases not being picked up. I have many complaints about Renee Good and Alex Petty not getting picked up. I have complaints about the 2 recent killings in Houston, and I think it was It wasn't Minnesota. It was somewhere north. North. And 2 more U.S. citizens died, and the person in Houston, the quote-unquote illegal alien, was a guy on a tourist visa visiting the United States to see his family, and they murdered him. So, like, we could play this ball and catch game all we want, but, like, at some point we have to have rules and regulation. And again, I'm the military guy. I served the United States Air Force, and like we just fight for other people with no opinion or cause. No, that's not true. We have very strong opinions. Trust me, we have very strong opinions of what's happening in Iran. Like, you guys just don't hear about them because we don't talk to you because you're not military members, and it's not good. But I won't go further into that. But my point is ultimately, Tate decided to be a citizen of 2 countries. He voluntarily said, I'm a UK citizen, I'm a US citizen, so each of those 2 states get to claim him and do whatever judgments they think are legal. And unfortunately for him, UK is like, hey, bro, we have stuff that might work. And a judge looked at the evidence, and a jury looked at the evidence and said, yeah, bro, this is kind of weird. So, let's come back and have you face a full court trial. And that's fine. Let him go in front of the court and tell him all that CP on those hard drives are not his. And that is his legal right.
Right. I agree. I mean, I just see it as asking the Secretary of State to come in and intervene on your behalf and everything. I don't know. This whole thing, I understand what J Boss was saying about this guy, but to me personally, he's always stunk because I know that he did things like he rug pulled his own followers. He's run a couple of scams. So I'm just looking at this guy and I'm like, if you don't make a lot of friends and then you put yourself in this position, it's kind of, I can't really lament for you. It sucks, man. But you put yourself in the position, and if you're not doing an ethical thing with your own fans, I just don't see why the government would specifically stand up for Andrew Tate. I don't know, man. He seems to be like
I don't
main
think
character
they care.
syndrome.
Yeah, I think he really does have main character syndrome. I don't think the government particularly cares about Tate. I don't, you can try to tell me this is, governmental prosecution, yet we got a guy with a bit on his face running to be PM. I don't think no one cares about that. I think they were like, the judge said, hey, dude, you might have CP on your hard drive. Let's investigate it. And again, as Eve says, innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty.
And let's let 12 of your peers decide if the government evidence is good enough or not. I think we should allow the justice system to play out. And if you don't think we should allow the justice system to do that, then I don't know what better way you would want to handle this. And, I see a lot of detractors in the comments, and, like, okay, guys, but how else should we run this? How else should we run a fair trial system? And again, we, in the Western nation, through Greece and Rome, have followed the tradition of not guilty until proven guilty through a court case, in case you're illegal in the American states, and then we just fucking shoot you in the head. But those are, they were trying to pull their gun out and shoot the ICE cops and whatever. But you know what? Like, let's care about Andrew Tate, of all people to care about. I honestly couldn't care two fucks about this guy. If he gets arrested, doesn't get carried over or not, I don't care. I literally do not care about this dude. And the fact that the UK wants him, okay, dude, you can have him. Let him go over there, and if he's proven guilty, he can stay over there. Like, I don't want him.
Yeah, I do. I would say I do think that there are remedies for the. I don't know, but this is like a complicated international case where you're like, I don't see how America's supposed to stop this, or what would be. I don't know, man. Like, I just wonder, why did you come here if you had this risk? That's the main thing I take away from this. Like, you came here knowing you had not a warrant, but like they were gonna try to fuck with you. Why would you not go somewhere? I don't know. You have two citizenships. You are a citizen of the U.S. You have those same protections and rights. You are a citizen of the UK. Why you decide to be a citizen of the UK, I don't know. Maybe you were born there, maybe not. I don't really care. But if they want to pull you back, who are we to disagree with that? You chose dual citizenship. You could have cut off your UK citizenship anytime you wanted. Really?
You could be a full American. You could just be an American, and then he wouldn't have to deal with any of this. So it's like, why didn't you do that, sir? Like,
dude, you're right. I didn't. Wow, it's only 450 pounds to do this. I didn't know that it was that cheap, because in America it's super expensive. You're right. Huh.
Yeah, like, you could just said, no, I don't want to be a UK citizen. Why did
You're
you
right,
do
because
that?
they're calling him back because he's a citizen to an extent. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. US and UK. Yeah. He also has Vanuatu. I have a friend that has that, but okay. So, oh wow, they revoked his Vanuatu. Why didn't he just get a Dubai Emirati citizenship? This guy, I don't know, man. Maybe he's been like just doing everything, focusing on the business side, because I feel like there's a lot of mistakes here that any like dumb public defender would have told you, hey, you should probably renounce the citizenship, probably do this instead. But I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, I'm throwing all options this guy could have taken. And again, I don't particularly care about this either way. I'm just wanting to argue the point of, well, if the UK wants him back, he's a UK citizen, so, okay, I guess they have the right to him too. Don't know why you didn't ditch that, but okay, dude. You say a lot of supposedly smart things, but you seem to be really dumb when it comes to matters about things like,
about the Matrix, right?
Yeah,
like
about the stuff that other people have to care about the stuff that people are dying in America about. And it's just like, okay, man, sure, like, I guess. And again, complain about politics, complain about all those other things. Yeah, okay, maybe the UK does want to prosecute them for their own political beliefs. We say we assume that.
Yeah.
So the same government who's trying to cut off green cards to other people because they don't think you should have them based on your political beliefs is willing to give Andrew Tate over to the UK government.
Now, I will say, because J-Ball's saying here, and this is true, but I would answer this question for you, where he says the pettiness of the UK, because they arrest people for online posts, like that, they would try, but then it's kind of your point where, why wouldn't you renounce the citizenship if you want to post things online that are going to violate their laws? That's the way I would
the
see
United
it.
States.
No, the
United
United
someone
Kingdom.
in jail for 30 days over a Charlie Kirk post. Like, why are we acting like we're better in the UK?
Well,
literally, a guy went to a different county and arrested someone because he posted literally a post of Donald Trump saying, "Get over it," to a school shooting, and they arrested him and held him in jail for 32 days. Like, do you not think this is happening in the United States? I'm so confused.
I think it is worse from what I've seen over there, like their speech codes and all that. But that's why I would never really want to get there, because I don't even think like countries with speech codes outside of the UK are that harsh.
No, it's getting worse in America. You have secret agents showing up at people's houses because of Facebook posts nowadays.
Yeah. I'm gonna look into this.
You can look it up. Like, I'm not joking. Secret Service is literally showing up at people's houses because they posted memes on the internet.
Interesting. Let's see this here.
So, like, UK cracked down on speech. Guys, do you not notice this is happening in the United States? Do you not see it? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, we can disagree what they posted, but my point is like, it's not like America is doing any better right now.
I'm going to look into, because I remember during Trump won that CNN did some bullshit too, where like I think they put the guy in jail who made some meme about CNN. Like, there are these weird cases in the US, because here it says that it's like the UK, Germany, and Canada that are strongest in the West, like that are most draconian. But there are these weird edge cases here, and I don't know how they happen. That's a good point. That's a good point. All right, sir. I appreciate your perspective.
Yep, no problem.
I guess, we'll see how the court case plays. We'll see if he even gets extradited, right? It's a process. Like Marco Rubio said, it's a process. We don't know if he will be extradited. Right? Yeah,
and again, like I said, I don't particularly care about Andrew Tate if he gets arrested or not. I'm more making the point that, like, we can complain about draconian UK laws, but like, they're in the US nowadays, and we should care about that too, because we should embrace the First Amendment, and everything we say should be free speech. And yet we have the United States government and local police agencies arresting people for free speech. And like, I don't know about you, man, I don't want to go to jail because I posted on Facebook.
Dude, people post some wild shit on Facebook, though, man. They really do. Because I wrote that Alexei
really
account.
Posted Donald Trump saying, "Get over it," to a school shooting, and he got arrested for 32 days.
No, but I mean, like, just as an aside, my Alex page, dude, the one I run on Facebook, some guy posted it. He's like, "I hope you get beat up in the streets and you end up a vegetable." And I was like, damn, dude, like, this is crazy. Like, Facebook is another world. People post the most insane shit.
It's legal. Unless he directly said, "I will go to your house and do it," that's illegal. But
that's crazy.
Unless it's a direct threat. Yeah, unless it's a direct threat and saying time and place and where they're going to do it, that's all legal. Which, there used to be free legal speech here, but posting a Charlie Kirk meme can get you arrested.
I'm gonna look into that. All right, man. I appreciate you.
All right.
Appreciate the super chat.
Yep. Same to you. Good night, sir.
All right. Interesting. This is cool, man. We finally have like varying perspectives. We have people from all over. Let me close this over here. I'm gonna look into that Charlie Kirk thing. I remember they were firing people. I don't remember legal charges. Did someone get arrested for a Charlie Kirk meme in the U.S.? Let me see this here. Iron Hammer says, if I, as an American citizen, murder somebody in the UK and then I catch a flight to the US, could I still be arrested by US Marshal and extradited? You could, but like we saw the case earlier, the CIA agent's wife who did it, they said she had diplomatic immunity and they didn't. And I think that's what happened with Matthew Broderick too. When it gets to extradition, it's weird. Matthew Broderick, a lot of people don't remember, he killed someone. He killed a woman in Ireland, I think. I think they wanted to extradite him, and he just didn't go. I don't remember. Oh, this is pretty interesting. Let's see this here. Eve says, he is a major American political figure. Political speech is absolutely protected, but having a white woman cry and the entire world jumps. True. Yeah. listen, with this one, it's like let's wait. I'm looking at it like let's wait and see. Let's wait and see, because with the Plattner thing, that was gross. I agree with that. You guys know my feelings on Cosby. With this one, I'm like, dude, if they actually have material that's digital, like it's not just someone saying something, they have real digital material. I mean, who knows, right? I guess we'll see. Would be interesting to see. Regardless, why was he in America? I don't see why that makes sense. The locals is posted Trump saying, "Me and Fisher saying we have to get over it," referencing the arrest local law enforcement pretext. Let's do that. Threat against the local Perry High School brother. That's crazy. Set his bail at $2 million. 37 days. That's some real reaching. That's crazy. They dropped the charges. The assistance of individual Fire Bushart, and they paid him $835,000. All right, I would take that. I would take 37 days for almost $1 million. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's wild. Wow. Dude, this is a strange way that it's working. J-Boss said this is ignoring the frequency. I remember the Count Dankula story. Dude, what was the name? They arrested some guy for a CNN meme. I remember the U.S. In the U.S., it's always weird when this stuff happens. Didn't CNN have a guy arrested for making a meme in Trump 1? Let me see this. I remember this, man. Always weird. No, CNN, however, you're like thinking of a controversy. Tweeted a GIF showing him body slamming a person. They tracked down the creator. Extensive history of posting racist stuff on Reddit. Wow, way back when that was still possible. After CNN reached out to him for comment. Long apology on Reddit. All right. But yeah, and so CNN doxed him. I guess it's not the same thing, but it's still pretty fucking scummy of them, I think. That's crazy, man. 37 days. But fuck, dude, I would do the 835,000. Oh, how much does that come out to a day? Let's check that out real quick. Hang on. I'm not gonna do this math. Divided by. You know what? Let's even make it better. Let's take the taxman's cut. Let's assume a higher rate, although they probably don't even have that higher rate. But all right, let's say like 0.3. Right? Let's even leave it at point. Let's say half. Okay, let's say it's half because of the lawyer's fee and everything. He only gets half. Divided by 37. That's $11,000 a day for jail. Brother, yo, can someone arrest me for $11,000 a day? It's crazy, man. That's good money. Wow. All right. All right, let's check this out. I've only been keeping up with this through the show. Let's see this here.
Hello, my name is Count Binface, intergalactic space warrior, CFAX fan, and I am from planet Sigma 9.
This is the satirical candidate running against Nigel Farage, the leader of the Anti-Immigration Reform UK party, in an upcoming parliamentary by-election in the seaside town of Clacton. Count Binface, the alter ego of comedian John Harvey, regularly runs in UK elections, with his trash can-shaped head and long cape. Most recently, Binface won 95 votes, a 0.2% share, when he ran in a by-election in Makerfield near Manchester. His manifesto for that campaign included forcing cyclists who break traffic laws to ride unicycles instead, and capping the cost of a croissant at £1. He's run in several other elections, including some under the name Lord Buckethead.
Count Binface for Mayor of London, 24,775.
The British system is the one that I think, above all, fosters the eccentricity, the wonderment, and the humour of politics. So I say it is to be cherished, it is to be celebrated, and that's why I'm here.
The upcoming by-election was triggered when Farage stepped down as an MP, only to announce he would run again. The far-right leader was facing a parliamentary probe.
Wait. What was it Farage did? Hang on. What? Wait. Farage stepped down and is running again? How does this... What's he doing? I fucking hate this idiot, dude. I don't even keep up with him anymore. Resigning only to immediately announce that he's running in the resulting by-election to reclaim his own seat. The reason... Formal investigation by the parliament regarding his personal finances. What? Undeclared benefits. Farage insists he has done nothing wrong, arguing that the financial gifts fell outside standard declaration requirements. By quitting Parliament, Farage automatically triggers a local by-election Pause the parliamentary investigation. Bro, that's crazy. That's so smart. That's so smart. That's crazy. Wow. Can you do this in the US? That's so good. Can you do this in the US? That's crazy smart, man. That is very smart. That's very smart. Wow. Legally, yes. Dude, that's wild. That is wild. Okay. Wow, that's crazy. I'll take this opportunity to tell everyone this may be funny and everything, but please run for office, run for something, man. Get your thing, right? It's all right. I'm all right, Jack. Get your shit together. Get your run for office, win something. I don't care if you're left, right, center, whatever you want. But do me a favor. You're in this audience, man. You're probably higher IQ. We have a very high IQ. I think we have the highest. I think I walked into this chat and I said, wow, it's the highest IQ chat on YouTube. Wow, it's the highest VI. It's a very high IQ chat. I don't care what you are. You know, run for something. Please, I beg of you, run for something. Please, just for fun. Do it for fun. Why not? It doesn't cost you much. Do it for fun. It's like $150 to file. I know everyone here can afford that. All right? Any asshole with a pulse can make $150 in this country over the course of a day. You can do it. All right. Let's get out of here. That's crazy. The Farage thing is genius. That's so smart. That's so smart, dude. I thought Farage was dumber than that. You know, No, that's not. That's crazy, man. Smart of Farage. Very, very smart. All right. We have to go here, but let me close the phone line here. Did I close the phone line? I did. I enjoyed the calls today. I enjoyed the diversity of thought. That's what we encourage on the channel, diversity of thought. At some point, I'm going to make it so that you guys can talk amongst yourselves on the show. You can do that in the Discord now. But like, I mean, live. We could have each other hear each other and everything. You know, do your thing, man. Do your thing. We'll figure it out. If you guys are going to debate and fight, I see some fights here. Respectful. Come on, we're all buddies here. I'm not saying anyone's being disrespectful. I'm just saying respectful. We want to have everyone here. We want liberals, conservatives, right-wingers, left-wingers, libertarians. Everybody is welcome here except for Dave Smith. All right, everyone. See you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you.
My final method.